Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder to some low tier gameplay, but it's not slow paced, no, we are going fast in the Sd.Kfz.234 TD. This is the Twitch drop reward Puma. It is in the tech tree line, in the premium line, but it is stock and it's not a premium. However, it's just nice to have. I got it from watching Flip Sturk and Validas on Twitch over the course of the weekend, where then I could drop it after some enlisted stuff. This was the final Twitch drop, and I love this thing with the Hinterhalt camouflage, the ambush camouflage. It's just a beauty, and we are just zooming across the battlefield into a highly advantageous position. And the question is, how do you play light tanks? And what can this thing do? And also, overall, this battle was amazing. Doesn't really happen too often that I get into this position, but with a horsepower to ton ratio of around about 18, this German wheeled light tank or armored car, whatever you want to call it, can zoom across the battlefield with a top speed of up to 90 kilometers per hour, and in reverse. I aim here at this position, and I try to range find or pre-range find here, because usually there are always some nice tank columns and you can give them some easy side shots. Doesn't look like this is gonna happen. So once in a while I get asked to make some low tier content, and to be honest, this map size feels amazing for World War II tanks, for early tanks. You still have plenty of room to move around, you still have plenty of engagement zones, and the combat distance just feels right. It could be a bit more for an experienced player like me, but it is absolutely okay. And also, at low tier there are a lot of derp tanks as well, and well, it just feels more usable. To think that this is a map that you can get for main battle tanks is odd. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let's forget about this. So, what is this tank? This tank is a copy-paste version of the tech tree Puma, the Sd.Kfz.234-2, and it is, well, fantastic. It's one of the first light tanks at lower tiers that the Germans got that could scout, and scouting is a very powerful tool. You must not underestimate. Now, whereas scouting not just gives you a bit of reward here and there for a scout target getting damaged or killed, and therefore gives you an assist, it also warns your teammates so that the enemy tank has less likely chance to pull off an ambush. And even though the scouting might run out, it gives your teammates plenty of warning, and some people, believe it or not, actually use the minimap and just see the blinking symbol. So this is then the symbol that somebody got scouted. And I think that you should use this more often, because remember, it's for free. Just like binoculars. Now, what I really like about this tank is how it feels, how it handles. It has an incredibly tight turn and a really nice 50mm gun. Watch this. Yeah, that's 400-500 meters distance. First round into the side of the Sherman, second one a bit unfortunate, doesn't really kill the rest of the crew, but the third one does the charm. Bursting charge is less than 30 grams, so you can not always expect a one-shot despite hitting the crew compartment. And the Sherman, especially the 105 with the new overpressure mechanic and its tough frontal armor, it's actually a dangerous tank these days. Not gonna lie, it is really tough from the front. But for side shots, this is where this gun really can shine, because of the muzzle velocity, the rate of fire, and the various different ammunition types that we have. Let's talk about the gun. The 50mm Kampfwagenkanone, KWK 39/1. 55 rounds of ammunition, and you have plenty of ammo types. However, again, this tank is not a premium, you'll get it stock. Both the tech tree and the Twitch reward. And you have as the default shells the Sprenggranate 38, which made a little bit of a meme with the new overpressure mechanic, but I don't use it here. I use the Panzergranate 39, which is the second stock shell, and it's an APC round or APHE. 835 meters per second muzzle velocity, less than 30 grams of TNT equivalent bursting charge, but you know, having some bursting charge is always better than none, and up to 106 millimeters of penetration. In theory, that's good enough for going through the front of a KV-1, but and we all know how trolly and unreliable it is if you're just able to pen armor with APHE rounds. They just like to non-pen or to bounce, or you hit some weird spot. Now also we can enjoy here the great Gaijin driving mechanics, because I'm just sliding off the side of the hill. The reduced fraction or friction or traction, whatever, was not really helpful. But it is indeed so steep that I couldn't really elevate the gun. It's not a fault of the tank, because the gun handling is actually not that bad. 10 degrees of gun depression and 20 degrees of gun elevation is kind of the golden standard. But back to the shell types. So that APHE is good for dealing with other light tanks, dealing with tanks from the side in general, with the crew compartment, and the lack of really high penetration, although it's mostly sufficient, gets made up by the high rate of fire. And if you really have flat, tough armor, you have two different APCR shells. And because a lot of tanks have flat armor at around this battle rating, it makes sense to take some of with you. There is the Panzergranate 40-1, and then as a tier 4 upgrade, the Panzergranate 40 APCR. 1180 meters per second muzzle velocity is really high for this battle rating, and then you have 137 millimeters of penetration, but very bad at angle with or against angled armor. You have smoke, you can scout, the rate of fire, as I said, is really high. You have in the region of 4 seconds. If you have a fully trained Seal Clubber ace crew, you can go down to 3.7 seconds. And again, the muzzle velocity is nice, and look at this turn rate. Did you see this snappy turnaround? This is because all 4 axles can actually individually turn, and so you have the front and the rear axis going against each other, making really tight turns. And a wheeled tank very often doesn't really lose that much speed in a turn, or mostly nothing compared to a wheeled tank, a track tank. So this makes all the difference, especially in a knife fight. But this tank can feel awkward because of the only 14 degrees per second turret rotation speed. So your vehicle turns significantly more snappier than your turret. So you also can adjust your turret when turning the hull. It's a bit weird. If you're so far used to only track tanks, this is really awkward. But amongst the track tanks, even the high tier ones, this one just turns so snappy, so nicely. It's fantastic. The armor on this thing, from the side, it's on the hull only 8mm, so really fragile. Needless to say how easy it is to kill this thing with a 50 cal from either tanks or planes, bombs, rockets, whatever. And from the front, the best that you can get is 30mm. That is, in most cases, heavy machine gun safe. In most cases. Don't rely on it. So you can see so far the gameplay, for talking almost for 9 minutes now, it's not so exciting. But this is the thing. This tank gets more dangerous the longer it stays alive. Light tank can relocate, they can scout, and especially in the end game scenario, when less and less players are on the battlefield, the scouting ability really screws with the enemy's chances of pulling off an ambush, surprising some of the few remaining team members. And even though you might not have a shot, one of your team members then can make the decisive kill. Again, in the long run, this is really efficiently, and to be honest, it's really underappreciated. But I love it. I love this tank. I love this map, which feels absolutely fine for this battle rating, you know, where not just tank cannons, normal anti-tank cannons can perform nicely, but also derp cannons still can get into play. This map, though, for modern MBTs It's not well suited in my opinion, but that's a different topic. Today we stay positive like a COVID quick test. Anyway, so the thing about this position is nobody expects you to be there, and you can see this guy also has no idea. And this tank can be tough. So we take out the gun of the loader, we aim for the front driving wheel because he wanted to angle because there the armor is weaker, and we take out an M3. That is a tank that has a lot of crew, and then close your eyes, kids, because this is cruelty to small tanks. Yeah, and you know, those were really important kills. Now my team has a better chance to fight around A, and I also kind of defended B. And nobody ever can tell me, can say that I'm kind of spawn camping, because, well, between me and the spawn of the enemy team there is still a big massive mountain or big ridgeline. Now the map sadly got kind of reworked, because before that you could actually move up over that ridgeline, and that was really funny, that was really derpy, but apparently Gaijin doesn't want you to exploit this, and so they ruined also a bit the traction, and so you now oh, was that an artillery strike? Yeah, that was an arty kill. It's always satisfying. The new overpressure mechanic buffed artillery strikes beyond belief, and especially at low tiers. This is really dangerous. Oh, there are now many tanks. Okay, that looks to be a Chinese or Japanese tank, as there is a second one, and we get the kill on the first one, and then somebody seems to come for revenge. He dunked the shot, my turret rotation barrier can keep up, and we get it, and those were 2 quick kills. So 9 kills so far, and we are still alive 12 minutes into the gameplay. This is cool, this is different. You can have, you know, high blood pressure, quick close quarters knife fights all day long, but this is a bit more relaxed. This is where you can think and breathe and can make decisions, where you can test your patience. The worst that you can actually tell me is that this is frontline camping, right? But I think the impact on the outcome of the game, from my perspective, was rather huge. And again, remember, this tank has so many advantages that you can't throw away if you just move it into a frontline engagement. All that it takes for you to die is one shell to get shot at in the first place. And this position, well, it was just perfect. To get in there, that's the difficult part. To stay alive in this position is also very often not easy, because in theory you can get attacked from both sides. That was a nice flyby here by a plane. So there is an enemy tank with an autocannon. I have no idea what it is, but I don't want to test it, and so I'm really thinking to myself, should I wait? There it is, and I scouted him again, helping here out my team. I couldn't get a shot off in time. I drop an arty strike, and look at how this thing reverses. This is so cool. This is what I miss on so many other wheeled tanks, that they are really snappy to drive. And with this going 90 kilometers forwards and backwards, it's just fantastic with this really tight turning circle, because of, as I said, the 4-axis steering. It's fantastic. So, what's not to like about this tank? It's fast, it's iconic, it's really cool looking, even if you don't know it. It has a very capable 50mm gun, and well, it can scout, can drop arty strikes, can help to repair allied tanks, etc. It's an all-rounder, a very good one. Light tanks can be powerful, not so much in a frontline close quarters match, but when you give them room to maneuver, then they are highly dangerous. And again, they become more dangerous overall in theory the longer they stay alive. So we are now what, 13-14 minutes into the gameplay, and I think to myself, should I go for this guy? I don't know. And then I see it, it's one of those French early AAs that kills here one of my Panzerjäger once. I think to myself, should I risk it? Should I risk it? The match is about to end. It would be really a heartbreak a little bit to throw away here the survivor. but now I think I should risk it. Sadly, the artillery strike hasn't killed him because he's open top, highly vulnerable to shrapnels. And when the match is over, finally we get the survivor and the heavy metal hero. I go forward and instantly my engine is on fire. I probably would have killed him here in just a second. And that was a really great showcase of how powerful this position is, how universally awesome this tank is. We don't get the most amount of civilians, quote unquote, only 38,000 for 9 kills and 2 assists, but we did some 18 scoutings and we were with quite a bit ahead of our team with 2,744 score points. And that was for me just a nice game, a relaxing game, a different gameplay experience. And I wanted to share this with you because very often I get criticized for just featuring high tier stuff, new stuff, and not being so happy with this. But this tank is awesome. I really like it, and I just wanted to share this with you. So yes, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this gameplay, and as usual we will see each other after you hit the subscribe button and the like button. We'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.